Hey, well, thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Jim and Lana. And everyone, thanks for coming on today. Yeah, so good to get back into one of these again. I've always found them fun, and we're going to do a lot more. Now, I had a ton of questions come through. I'm going to do my best to, in this hour, go through as many of the questions as possible and bring as many of you on as possible as well. So we're going to blast through quickly. If you, as Ryan said, if you do have questions, add them in the Q&A box. It's going to have to be first come, first serve because my children have a play that I have to go to later on this morning. So I really am stuck on the hour to go and watch my kids sing. Without further ado, let's jump in. So an anonymous question first. The question I have is about self-sabotage because of a belief that I'm not worthy of winning. I did the A-game masterclass pre-pandemic, and I think I've discovered that things that happened as a child subconsciously affected the way I feel about myself, and it's therefore affecting my poker game. I was abused as a teenager and saw quite a bit of domestic violence against my mother. I've been to therapy about those issues. I'm confident about my poker skill and knowledge, like range advantages, bet sizing, and that's things of that nature. But the issue raises its ugly head when I'm up a significant amount in a session, like $600-700 in a 2-3 no limit game. I end up losing it all back and then some more, not always, but enough that it concerns me. Also, when I'm losing, I feel I lose more than I should in that game. I listen to Prime Mind at least 4 or 5 times a week. I also listen to the podcasts, and during breaks, I use the tournament maximizer, the break maximizer. All of your stuff's been a great help. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Well, Anonymous, sorry to hear you've dealt with such difficult things in your life. Yeah, the truth is these things in our past can have big impacts on the way we feel about ourselves, self-sabotage, and stopping ourselves reaching the level of success we want. For the first change I would make, which is really, it's a band-aid, is have a stop win in the games. So if you know that, 2 buy-ins is where you start self-sabotaging, allow yourself to take profit in the short term. This is a short-term fix, not a long-term fix, but we may as well have a fix in place that allows you to leave the game with a profit in those moments. So that would be the first thing to do. Oftentimes when we do these, a lot of it comes back to me recommending coaching and therapy and things, but I know you've said you've covered your issues in therapy. I would continue digging deeper into those. Perhaps work with someone who's specifically for poker, like one of our team. We've got a whole team of coaches now. There are 8 coaches, so there's someone at every price range. So someone who's got an idea of the poker world and can help you through those emotional issues and self-sabotages that are showing themselves at the poker table. So they're really the main things I would do. So put a band-aid in place. The band-aid is having a stop win. You're aware that you're self-sabotaging in those moments. And then look into digging deeper into the issues that happened as you were a child, because there's clearly a lot of gold there for you. So yeah, that's my recommendation. I hope that helps, and I hope you see some change. Okay, next question. So next question from Paul. I've previously used the A-game planner. Are there more available to purchase? Right now, there aren't. There is a software version that's included in the course that you guys have. So you can print off the sheets, or you can use the software and fill out the planner there. So you do have access to it. We are writing a book at the moment. There's going to be a book coming out later in the year. There definitely won't be more planners before that, but there's a chance we might get more of them made after the book launch. So yeah, unfortunately, the bad news is they've all sold out. We don't have them anymore. So yeah, but we do have the software version if you have the A-game masterclass. Okay, so an anonymous question. Oh, thanks, Lara. Yeah, the planner was really popular. It was really, really popular. Anonymous question. I've been a successful high stakes player in high stakes MTTs and cash games. I've taken the A-game class and found a lot of benefit implementing the lessons. I invest in coaching for my game and my health and fitness. I've thought about applying to work with a coach many times and even started to fill out the application. However, I've never followed through, even though I know there are many areas of my mentor game that could use work, and I've only heard good things from my friends who've done this sort of coaching. The excuses to put it off or start sometime down the road always sound good in the moment, and I'm sure there are areas of my life where I'm not following through similarly. So I guess in short, why do I not follow through on the things I know will benefit me, and how can I fix it? Well, I mean, the first off, that there's probably some kind of, if you don't do the work, you have an excuse. So a lot of the time, some of the mindset stuff, is filling out the basics. So it's making sure you have your health, your fitness, your exercise, you're doing your study, you're following your game plan. Sometimes people don't like to be in the position where someone's going to be holding them accountable to be the best version of themselves. So I would first, anonymous, ask yourself the question, am I scared of being held accountable? Or potentially, am I scared of reaching the level of success I might live if someone does hold me accountable and I do these things? And then also there's sometimes the fear of failure. If I do all of this and I don't reach where I feel I should be able to reach, is that scary for me? Is that scary for my ego? So obviously, I would recommend bite the bullet, reach out, start working with a coach, and see how it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, no problem at all, but you might find it makes a massive difference to your lifestyle and to your poker. So yeah, I think there's probably some kind of not wanting to be held accountable is probably there in the background. So would highly recommend working through that. Yeah, especially if you're playing high stakes, this sort of work should be effectively a free investment for you. Because if you're playing very high stakes, we're talking about a buy-in for a single tournament might be a year of coaching. So if you look at it that way, for the high stakes players, you should all be working with a mindset coach, because the potential ROI is just so huge. So yeah, that's my take there. Hey, Francisco is gonna come on and talk. So hey, Francisco, how you doing?
Hi, Elliot. Thank you so much. Appreciate.
Hey man, thanks for jumping on and talking.
Thank you so much. So basically, I wrote a question.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm now playing MTT team. Okay, so I'm in part time because I have my main job.
Yeah.
And I'm in the levels like in the basics, low stakes. And sometimes, not every time, but I feel like kind of block. I'm feeling like afraid because I'm playing with money that is not mine. So basically, I'm feeling afraid to make a huge how I would say in English.
Like a debt or?
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes this kind of feeling blocks my performance. I think in general is this. So I'm a little bit afraid, like move up, and when I talk with the other guys that are in the levels superior, they talk me about swings, and I'm always. I think it's more risk aversion. I would say it's this kind of block that I feel.
Okay. This is normal. A lot of people feel this way. Just checking, with the deal that you have, are you borrowing money from them, or is it a standard staking deal where it's just going on to make up?
My deal it's a regular one. So
Mm.
basically it's a split mode, I think. And yeah, it's something that it's truly I see the it's like more aversion because I'm always like okay, so I'm winning, it's okay, but maybe if I start to a downswing, so what will happen, so I'm always like a little bit afraid.
What are you worried about happening?
To make like I think honestly I think it's maybe afraid like say to my family, I think, or my wife, because I have a daughter as well. So, and when she asked me, so everything is okay? Are you doing well? This kind of stuff. And yeah, maybe it's like because it's not just me, you know. So I'm a more represent you know, my family. So I love playing, I love everything, but sometimes I feel this kind of block, like to move up in stakes. Maybe it's a lack of technical also, and confidence. I know I have to work with that, because probably if I have more skill, I will be more comfortable, maybe.
Yeah.
But in the other side, I feel like this kind of block, you know, like when I talk to other guys, they are like in level superiors. They say, oh, I have a swing 10k, 20k, something more, and I always feel, oh wow. Yeah.
So a few things. One is you're already mitigating that risk. That's why you're playing for a team. So they're putting money up, so you're not actually risking your money.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
first off, it's not your money. They're choosing to invest in you, and for your time, they're getting a percentage of the winnings and you're getting a percentage of the winnings, but you have no downside. So when you're talking to your wife, and whether you're up or down, or whether you're in makeup or not, it's not really relevant, because it's not your money. They're taking a bet. They're placing a bet on you, and some of their bets will win and some of them will lose, and they're hoping more of their players win than lose, and they're using you to hedge variance. But they will understand variance, the backing group. So first off, you're in the lowest risk situation you can be, because even though you have a family, you're not risking their money at all. If you end up in thousands of dollars of makeup and they decide to drop you, you won't owe the makeup, right? And if you get into huge makeup and they don't think you're winning, they will just drop you. So there's no real risk from that side for you. And as you move up in stakes, the swings will get larger. With MTTs, especially if you're backed, you should always be in makeup to some extent, because effectively, you play MTTs and you go deeper into makeup, and then you win one, you go into profit, you and the backers chop, and then you start going back into makeup again. So you should always be chopping as soon as you're in profit. So you should never be above neutral. Right. So with the system you have in place, you'll always be in debt to some extent, because that's the nature of the system. But I would view it as currently you're taking zero risk. You're doing this in the most adult way you can if you have a family, and working on your game and being confident. I mean, you should only move up in stakes if you believe you're a winner at the new stakes and your backers believe you're a winner at the new stakes. But this is a very low risk situation, because none of it's your own money. And if they're a professional backing group, they understand the swings, and it's for them to take those swings. You're not really taking those swings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, clear.
So allow them to gamble. That's their money. And you're just someone that they're gambling on.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you where they believe you should be playing, and you should play the level that they believe you're winning at. So that's the way I would view it. And the swings, I mean, as you get to the higher stakes, I mean, I have guys in hundreds of thousands of dollars of makeup, million, sometimes it's over $1 million of makeup. And that's just standard. Because as I say, that's the way these backing deals work, is they take all of the risk, but when there's a win, the upside, obviously, as they're playing the higher stakes, the wins are much larger as well. But it's their choice to take the gamble. So I really I'd really try to not take any of that pressure on your side.
Thank you so much for your time.
No worries, and good luck with it.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Hey, I got the masterclass at the start of COVID, and was wondering how different a session with Elliot or the process when working with a chance client has changed since the masterclass was released in the early 2020 when I purchased. Um, I mean, my working with clients hasn't changed dramatically. I still work with one-to-one clients. I don't work with quite such a high percentage of poker players anymore. I work with a lot more business people and traders as well. But the system is still the same. It's the sessions are using hypnotherapy to work through self-sabotage, fear of failure, fear of success, understanding where the issues came from, working through them and resolving them, so that you're no longer feeling those triggers at the table or on the stock market or in the boardroom, wherever those issues are showing themselves. So I think probably the main difference is since then I've probably done another, I don't know, do about 1,000 sessions a year. So I've probably done another 3,000 sessions since then. But my belief is still the same. The philosophy is still the same. I believe that you bring your issues to the poker table and you need to work through the issues and understand where they came from. And that's the thesis that all of my work is based on. I guess one thing that's different is we have a whole team of coaches now since 2020 who are all qualified hypnotherapists, and then I've done advanced training with them. So there's now a team of coaches. So there's people at every price range now, and that wasn't always the case. At some points it was just me or one or two other coaches, but now we have a full team of coaches. So that's really the biggest difference. Okay, next question is relatively similar, another anonymous one. What's currently happening with Elliot, new packages, new courses, upcoming content, etc.? So I still just work with clients most of the time. Again, the biggest change is the coaches that we have in place. Right now, there aren't new courses being built. Me and Ryan are writing a book on poker mindset that's going to be out later in the year. The first draft is done. We're really excited about it. It's now with an editor. So that's the big exciting thing. So it's a book launch, and it's going to be cool. We've got stories from a lot of the top players that I've worked with over the years, with how they've worked with me on their mindset, what's changed, the issues they used to deal with at the poker table. And it's people like Galfon, Fedor, Barry Sweet, Jason Kuhn, Ape Styles, Alex Fox, and Lara, who's in here. So Lara is kind enough. So yeah, to do one of the stories. There we go, smile from Lara. So yeah, that's the big thing that we're looking for, that we're doing this time. So yeah, that's the big news for the year. And I don't know after that. I don't know if there'll be a lot more. We're trying to do everything very comprehensive with the book, and the course was a very comprehensive course. And then obviously it's my belief that the one-to-one coaching is really important to actually work on the issues as a form of therapy. Oh yeah, mine's just reminded me, Prime Mind 3.0. Yeah, so we spent a year working on Prime Mind, 2 years working on Prime Mind, which has just launched. Yeah, I'm always on to the next thing. But this week you guys will have got a load of emails from Prime Mind. We have the web app launched last week, and yeah, that's been a ridiculous amount of work. But yeah, it's funny recognizing I'm literally onto the next thing. But right now, that's huge for us. So we now have the new version of Prime Mind on the app. We have a web app now for Prime Mind, which people were asking us for years. And we've added a load more content, and we're going to continue adding content all the time to Prime Mind. So that's developing as well. So yeah, thanks for the reminder, Ryan. Yeah, there's oh yeah, and there's the web app link he's just put in there for my Prime Mind. So check that out if you're not a Prime Mind user. Get the big discount that we're offering on the launch. So yeah, definitely check that out. See what you think. There's a huge amount of poker content there. Okay. Next question, another anonymous question. Thanks, Prime Mind. It really helps. So appreciate it, anonymous. Poker's not been working for me lately, so I'm looking to create crypto with 20 times leverage as a replacement. My plan is to start with a small risk of $100 and work my way up slowly. Obviously, this is risky and no means a safe play, but so is life. Do you have any advice on how to make this happen? Input on how I can make this best happen? I mean, this is close to gambling. We're talking about super high leverage crypto trading with $100. See it as you might get lucky, but with that sort, the number of bullets you got is virtually zero. you know, what's that? Like, you're going to take a few shots, and you might get lucky, but this is a might get lucky thing. I would probably recommend finding something else to make more money, so you have a larger amount to invest, and then following traders on Twitter, seeing if you can work for a trader for free and have someone mentor you. Sometimes people will accept a mentee, but you know, if you're gambling with $100, that's going to be extraordinarily difficult and unlikely to turn that into something. So I would find something else to do. You know, there's lots of online jobs where you can make some money. Build up the amount you have to invest, so you've got a little bit of a war chest, and then there, as I say, if you can get someone to train you, even if you work for free for someone for a year, and in the background just do a few hours work for someone who's a successful trader, and try and get them to teach you, that's going to be dramatically more successful for you. So I would always go down that route. So reach out to lots of people on Twitter, see if you can get someone to teach you, and then gradually build from there. Try and offer value to people. If you can be useful to somebody, they'll probably help you out. But you know, risking $100, 20x leverage, it's roulette, really. So sorry to be a bit of a downer on that, but that's how I view the game plan as described so far. So good luck on the bet, but view it as a bet with the current game plan that you have. Sorry, sorry, I'm just choking myself here. Okay, Rick, are you available?
Unfortunately, Elliot, Rick is not here.
Oh, he's not here.
Not here.
Okay. Well, question from Rick, which is an interesting one, because I'm wondering if there was a typo somewhere in our course. So it says in the A Game Planner demo, you recommend playing 40 to 50 hours a week as an MTT player, as well as 8 to 12 hours of study. How do I come up with those numbers? It's very hard to reach those hours if you want a full day off and a study day where you don't play. Oh, goodness. In my mind, we wrote this course a number of years ago. I believed it was 30 to 40 hours as an online MTT player. And this is at low stakes and mid stakes. This isn't at high stakes. So I don't know if there was a typo somewhere in the course, but my intuition right now is this should say 30 to 40 hours of play and then 8 to 12 hours a week of study, which would actually fit in with everything you're saying, Rick. So you may have found a typo, unfortunately. So we'll have a look through the course at that. Now, as people get to the higher stakes in MTTs, a lot of guys I work with, they only play 1 or 2 days a week, and then they study a lot more. This is a very high stakes players. So they'll play the Sunday, they'll play their day twos on Monday if they have any day twos on Monday, and then they may play a Wednesday or a Thursday as well. So be aware that the really high volume isn't necessary at the higher stakes. At the lower stakes in MTTs, you need to put the volume in to get the experience and just to be able to get the return on investment, because it's so hard to get money down. So if you're at the lower stakes, these numbers are correct hours wise. It doesn't say what stakes you're playing. If you're at high stakes, yeah, it's going to be fewer days a week, more attention on study, more attention on health and fitness, sleep, professionalism, those sorts of things. So yeah, I hope that's helpful, and apologies if there was a typo there. Yeah, I'm not quite sure on that part. I was hoping to talk to you, but unfortunately not here. Okay, so next one from Austin. I want to be viewed as a professional, but I struggle to keep a consistent schedule. Whenever I watch What's Holding You Back, I list sleep, nutrition, exercise as the 3 things that hold me back the most. Sleep is my biggest problem, as I'd love to master the 8 till 8 schedule, as I view that's a more professional schedule, with the first 4-hour block being dedicated to the gym, study, breakfast, freshening up, followed by casino for 6 to 8 hours a session. I believe this is healthier and more professional session. However, my daily routine now consists of waking up around 1 to 3 p.m. because I stay at the casino until 12. And then I come home and watch Netflix and Hulu, binge eat at night, mostly junk food, until 5 a.m. I've tried to fix the sleep schedule several times, but often what ends up happening is I fall asleep at 12 to 1, wake up in the middle of the night around 5 or 6 a.m. By the time I want to head to the casino, I feel tired and I want to take a nap. Then the vicious cycle repeats itself of working late, staying up late again. I believe the lack of energy is caused by poor nutrition and lack of exercise. I've been able to fix my exercise routine with daily exercise, but poor sleep and poor nutrition are still a big issue. I was literally eating a bag of sour cream and onion chips whenever you talked about the mechanical approach of not buying chips to keep in the house. Stress eating seems to be a big factor. The last bit of history, before I moved to Vegas, I was playing online poker where the game ran 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. at peak hours. I was on this schedule and now I feel stuck in this schedule. Thanks in advance for any feedback. I'll be flying out in 2 hours, so I won't be able to attend the call, but I would love some professional feedback on fixing my sleep and nutrition. I think it's poor planning and execution, but I haven't figured out the root cause of the detrimental program as what my bodily system is protecting me from besides fear of success. Previously, I've worked a real job and kept a 9 till 7 p.m. schedule. I've not been able to keep that schedule as my own boss. Thank you. Well, thanks for being so honest, Austin. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that you're dealing with there. First things first, if you want to be viewed as a professional, you have to be a professional. So, you know, I would change it from rather than you want to be viewed as a professional player, you want to be a professional player, and then you have to say, okay, what do they do? It sounds like you know the things to do, but you're not doing them. Exercise, well done for taking control. Diet and nutrition, literally don't buy the stuff. You're an adult. You can make the decision to not buy that food and not have it in the house. With the sleeping, it's going to take a while to recalibrate. You may have to take some time off poker as you recalibrate your sleep. So, I mean, I would, if I was in your situation, I would take 4 or 5 days and aggressively follow the sleep schedule as if you're moving to another country, and clean up my diet and focus on exercise for those days, and then study the hours that you would have been playing poker. So do the study as the work, and then really hold yourself tightly to those hours if you believe they're best for you to be most successful. As you said, you found it, you were capable of working these hours when you had a boss. You're now your own boss, so you need to hold yourself to the same level of accountability a boss would hold you to. If you can't do that, it's going to be very hard for you to be successful in this game or in any other business that you try afterwards. So do a full reset, take enough time off until you've changed your sleeping pattern. You know, there's a lot of the self-sabotage with the food that you're eating and then watching Netflix and Hulu and things. Just ban yourself from doing those things at night. And I know it's easier said than done, but it's also still a choice for you to make. So I would really focus on making those good decisions, and, you know, perhaps put accountability challenge, like penalties in place if you don't. You know, if you watch TV after X whatever time, you're not allowed to go to the casino tomorrow. You know, put punishments in place and actually hold yourself to it, because we want to have the most success you can. And if you continue on this pattern, it's extraordinarily unlikely that things are going to be successful for you. So yeah, sorry to be a bit rough, but that's the way I would work on it. Put punishments in place, do a full sleep reset. If you look up sleep is a skill, Molly is really, really good on giving tips on sleep. So check out her website, Sleep is a Skill. She's got a podcast about it. She's worked with tons of poker players. Her husband's in the poker industry. So that's Molly Eastman. Her stuff is excellent. I've worked with her as a sleep coach. She was excellent for me. So check out her stuff, and probably buy an Aura ring as well to track and keep you honest, because they're very good at keeping you honest. When you're wearing one of these, they're stalking you all day. So yeah, try those things, but the biggest thing is put a punishment in place. If you're not being a professional, don't allow yourself to play. Force yourself to be a professional. And as I say, like the language of I want to be viewed as a professional, forget about the viewed as one, start to turn that into I want to be a professional, and make the decisions to be one. So yeah, good luck. Okay, another anonymous question. Which areas of having a strong mindset do you see players struggle the most with? Maybe top 3, and what do you suggest for steps to improve on that? Okay, so first is professionalism, which links into the last question we have. So many players struggle with professionalism. So there's often this notion of, hey, I'm gonna become a poker player so I can have freedom in my life. And then there's this, like, the freedom means I don't need to live to a schedule, I don't have to do the study, I don't have to look after my health. And that's where a lot of the issues come in for people. I would say turning that into, I'm becoming a professional poker player because I have the freedom to play a game that I love for a living, but that doesn't mean I have the freedom in every other area of my life as well. So getting guys to do the exercise, the diet, the sleep, the study, that's often a battle. So I'd say that's where the lowest hanging fruit is. That's the easiest thing to fix, where you see a change in the quality of play, the focus, the energy at the table, how well they do deep in tournaments, how well they deal with downswings and variance. Like, if your sleep, nutrition, and exercise is good, all of those things become easier. So that's like the lowest hanging fruit for almost all poker players who aren't already doing those things. Variance on the next one, a lot of people have entitlement issues. A lot of people struggle with downswings. The realities of playing a game where it's not always fair. You can play your best poker and you can be on a bad run for a long time. So that's definitely a mindset issue that a lot of people struggle with. I will push, a lot of you have done the A-Game Masterclass, so I'll often push for them to look at the game from a more long-term mindset. So you guys will remember from the course, this idea that you can either be the casino or the gambler, and the gambler is looking at whether they're winning the hand or they're going home with money that night, and the casino is looking to see if they've had a profitable month, a profitable quarter, a profitable year, and they know they have an edge, and the daily variance doesn't affect the casino. You've got to make sure that you're the casino in these situations. And then third one, what would probably be the third most important? Downswings, professionalism, like probably getting people to do the right amount of study as well, and studying when they're winning and studying when they're losing, like creating a consistent plan around study. That can be difficult to get players to accept. So yeah, pushing people to study effectively and the right amount is often a challenge with a lot of poker players. It's definitely something there's a lot of resistance that comes up to. Yeah, so they're the answers there for that one. I'm going to do my best, as I say, to get through as many of these as I possibly can. So next up, another anonymous question. Is volume more important or game selection? I've noticed I've been very game select to the point where I only put a few hours in. I'm not sure if that's affected my win rate. I've noticed I've been getting unmotivated to play long sessions. How important is it playing as a professional? Oh, is this live cash? Okay, volume in live cash is important because you're not going to get that many hands in. There's only so many hands per hour, so there's only a certain amount of money that you can make if you're playing a small number of hands. Look at potential win rates, and then look at the number of hours, the number of hands, and you'll see that there's going to be a cap on how much money you can make. It's very important to game select, but it sounds like this is being done to an extreme at a level of self-sabotage. So, game selection has become an excuse to not put in the right number of hours for the game. Notice you've got unmotivated to play long sessions. It's the job, especially for live cash. Some of the guys I work with who take it most seriously. So let's say if you're playing in Macau, it will be like 36-hour, 48-hour sessions to get into the best games. So, it is a long slog. It is tough. It's a tough way to make an easy living, as they say. So yeah, you're going to have to put in long sessions. You're going to have to play the hours if you want to make a living out of this. It's just a reality of it. There is only so much win rate you can have, even in a super soft game, and there are only so many hands per hour. So try and still game select, but do it at, be realistic about how much you're going to need to play to make the money you want to make. Unless, you're a full-time professional as well. I mean, yeah, it sounds like you're not playing full-time right now. So if this is your only way of making money, this is a really important thing to fix. Again, this is one where it might be worth talking to one of the coaches about. You might be costing yourself 50% of the money you could be making a year by treating the game this way. It could be an enormous amount of money, because if you're not at a table, you're not making money as a poker player. So I would take this very seriously, and I would invest in fixing this problem. Because, as I say, it might be costing you half of your annual wage at the moment, which is extraordinarily expensive. So yeah, that's my take on this. Obviously, you still have to be winning the games. So you need to be game selecting to an extent that you are a winner in the games that you're playing, or believe that you're a winner. So game selection is still important, but if you're playing a small number of hours in a small number of games, it's going to be very hard to make a living. So I hope that helps. Okay, and then another anonymous question. I'm making steady progress working with my mental health, but recently suffered a massive mental setback, and I'm struggling to return to my positive mental health. How do you deal with regression, and what's the best way to get back on track? Well, sorry to hear that. It's never fun when we go through these things. Take control of the things that you can take control of. It sounds simple, but the sleep, the exercise, the nutrition, that anytime there are mental health issues and you're feeling super stressed, getting those things in place makes life an awful lot easier. Anyone who's not sleeping will be struggling vastly more than if you can get that sleep. So do all of the basics. Also, some vitamins and nutrients can be good at keeping you calm as well. So, check out vitamin B complexes. I'm not a nutritionist, all of this advice is for entertainment purposes only. But personally, I've found through stressful periods, vitamin B complex has been good for me. And then start working with a therapist. If you're saying this is a mental health issue, you should be seeing a mental health professional. So, that's not coaching with a coach for poker. That's speaking to somebody who works with mental health issues, and take it really seriously. It's worth putting in that time and finding the right person for you, so that you can work through those problems. But the absolute basics is like, what can I take control of today? Well, you can go outside, you can go for a walk, you can get in the sunshine, you can go to bed at a certain time, and you can get out of bed at a certain time. You can make sure you're hydrated. You can make sure you're talking to friends and family, and you can find a therapist to talk to somewhere. So they're the basic steps I would make if I was struggling with a mental health issue. So yeah, go check those out, and I hope that helps. Okay. So I've got through, that was all of the questions that came through.
So Elliot, there's 6 questions in the Q&A box there.
Excellent. Okay, so best way to deal with a long downswing from Bob. The best thing to do is assume it's your fault and focus on the study. So hopefully it's not your fault and it's just variance. But it can be a good time to get a coach to really dig into your technical game, and sort of double down on taking responsibility. It usually helps drag players out if they really double down on that. It's also potentially good. This is one of the times where I would be stricter on game selection, to try and make sure you're in games with as high a win rate as possible, to try and get the mindset turned around and rebuild your confidence again. Unfortunately, with long downswings, often they hit your confidence. As your confidence is hit, you often play worse poker, even though it might not feel like you're playing worse. If you're struggling, if you're feeling unconfident going into a session, it's quite likely you're not on your absolute A game. So study, game select, all of the self-care things that we said, and and get back to it and keep going through it. The only way is through, unfortunately. but get the study in and assume responsibility. It's natural and normal to say, hey, this is just a variance of the game, but everyone can always improve. There's always something you can be doing better technically. So focusing on those areas is usually healthier than just focusing on a sort of a woe is me, the game hates me. So good luck. Hope you're not in one right now, but if you are, good luck digging the way out of that. I think this is the question again, anonymous, that I just answered regarding the volume. Okay, so from Matt, how do I stay calm during a whole hand instead of resetting after already giving off tells? I'm relatively new to live poker. I've been playing about a month with reasonable results, but I have pretty bad ADHD and struggle with how intense playing live feels, especially when I take time off playing live, even a day or two. I do the prime mind hypnosis and it helps, but I feel I can be doing better. I don't have a mic, but I can clarify in the chat. I think that's a yeah. I think it's probably just that you've been playing about a month. This is completely normal for when you're new to live poker to feel this way around giving off tells and getting overexcited in hands and having to calm yourself down and feeling the intensity. And that's something where more hours at the table are going to be the things that push you through. It's going to be literally reps in this case. And you can do the hypnosis before, you can meditate on breaks, you can do breathing exercises to calm yourself down. But the truth of it is, this sounds like you're, a month in is incredibly, extraordinarily early in your poker career. This is just getting in the reps until it becomes normal. And after a few years, playing these hands is just going to feel standard and that pressure is going to disappear. So I would say get in as many reps as you can, Matt, and wait until your mind and body adjust to this game that you're playing, and the intensity just at some point it will feel irrelevant and there'll be no stress playing these hands, and the stress will only show itself in extraordinarily rare situations. So yeah, just get to the tables, play a lot. If you really feel you're giving off tons and tons of reads, play lower stakes until you're comfortable and then gradually move up. So yeah, that's my advice in this situation. Okay, from Joshua. Hey Elliot, I play poker for my primary source of income. Something I'm noticing is very difficult for me to put in the hours that's glorified in social media. I feel that it's difficult to me to put in what I would consider my A game after 4 continuous hours of live or more than 1 hour bursts online. So I feel a lot of breaks. I wonder what your opinion is of putting in hours. Can a player become successful and not be grinding tables nonstop? How important do you think the rest recharge time is for a poker player to be successful? I'm assuming this is cash games, Joshua. Is that correct? I don't know if you can put it in the chat. Yeah, cash games, perfect. Yeah, so it's going to be harder for you. You're going to have to learn to be able, you're going to have to learn to put in more. 1 hour at a time online, it's going to be very difficult because of the game, getting into the right games, getting the right seats at the tables. You're not going to want to give up those seats after an hour. It's just going to be very difficult. And then 4 hours live continuous. Yeah, most people are playing 8 to 10 hour sessions live. So again, like I was saying earlier with the other question, you're costing yourself an awful lot of money if you're halving your volume, because really, you're just playing it. You've got a win rate, and that's the amount you're winning per hour of play. So I would say do all of the things that may extend this. So the first is physical health and fitness. It does make a big difference to focus. So, perhaps hitting some long cardio sessions to try and get your stamina up so that it's easier. Work on practicing this. So if you're doing an hour at a time online, really push yourself to get to 1 hour and 15. Gradually get used to 1 hour and 15, push yourself to doing 1 hour and 30. So gradually increase this, treat it like an exercise. But it's going to be hard. If you're not putting in the volume, you're not making money, and it's going to be hard to be a full-time professional. So yeah, unfortunately, no easy fix here, but it's something you really need to be actively working on. Otherwise, as I say, it's just, you have an hourly, there just isn't a way around. If you're not playing the hands, you're not winning at that win rate. So they're the things I would do in this situation, and I hope that's helpful for you. Okay, so got David, and then potentially after this I can get one more question in, if anyone else wants to do a question, and then I'll have to finish up and, as I say, go watch my kids sing, which will be a lot of fun. David, I'm in a high stakes, long-term successful pro. One thing has really handicapped me throughout my 10-year plus career has been huge losses. I struggle to keep a rigid stop loss. I mainly play live, but online have some of the same issues. I can only play 3 days a week because I have a family and kids. So when I'm stuck, I often feel the need to keep playing with thoughts like, I'm in a good game. If I quit, I'll be forced to look in a loss, etc. What steps can I take to ensure I'm most likely to be able to stick to a stop loss? Unfortunately, David, which you won't like because no one ever does, it's having punishments in place. Punish yourself for not following the rules. So it doesn't matter what number you choose, but if your stop loss is 3 buy-ins and you end up losing 4 buy-ins, you have some level of consequence to that. So you don't allow yourself to play for a week, and maybe that costs you a week's money, but it's going to save you a lot more than that in the long run if you start following the rules. So put accountability in. If you really need help with it, if you're not able to do it yourself, then do a prop bet with a friend. So, hey, you know, if I lose more than 3 buy-ins, or again, whatever it is you decide is most effective for you, I'll give you $2,000. And your friend's there, and, you know, yeah, and he's going to keep you accountable for it. You know, I had one, you know, I've done, Ryan's mentioning share your plan with your wife and talk about it. I had one where I was having a guy buy his wife expensive shoes every time he broke his accountability, or handbags. So he was she loved asking him, because if he was ever breaking the rules, she was getting another handbag, and that kept him in check. I think she only got one. And then she would ask him all the time, and he was just like, wasn't willing to break the rules because he didn't want to buy her another expensive handbag. So I would put the punishments in place, and yeah, I mean, I've seen it work. You know, it's yeah, it's just, if you need consequences, otherwise the rules aren't really rules if there are no consequence to them. So if you give yourself the consequences, and again, like, especially if the wife one, like, yeah, it can work really, really well, because if they're going to get something, they yeah, they will often ask. And yeah, again, as Ryan's saying, if you're high stakes, it's going to be free money for you to be working with a coach on these issues, because, you know, you're costing yourself very large amounts of money if you're not following your stop losses. So working with a coach could also be really useful there. Hey, Joshua, good to hear that helps. So yeah, hit the exercise, hit those reps, and gradually move it up. But just see that that's how you're going to need to do those things to be a professional. So make sure that happens. Okay, and then finally, Anonymous, there is a gap between knowledge and execution while I'm in online MTTs, and I'm wondering where that stems from. I realize what the proper lines are just a few minutes after certain hands of play, but find myself lost during the hand. What are the thoughts on closing that gap or removing it altogether? So it's an interesting one. One of the things you can do is actually focus on specific, if you know there are specific things that you struggle with, focus on training those specific issues. So is it just 3-bet pots? Is it something else? So focus on your study, and then you know, within game, focus on that particular area. So let's say it's you're struggling with final tables, switch to sit and goes for a while, so that you're getting a ton of final table experience and you're getting more time in those difficult situations. There is you know, everyone does find it easier with more time. So there's always going to be some level of, hey, if I think about this hand for half an hour, I can get there, but with the small amount of time I had, I couldn't get there. That's true for all of your opponents as well. And, you know, more study will certainly help on that front. So continuing to put in the volume, but continuing to study a lot. And then also there's the GTO trainers now that can be very effective for study also. But yeah, everyone could play the hands, can play the hands better afterwards, because, you know, there isn't the time constraint or the pressure. So you're certainly not alone. You know, we can all trade the stock market great the next day. It's the trading it in the moment is more difficult. Okay, so it's putting the opponents on proper ranges. I also ask yourself if you're trying to put them on ranges to find an excuse to do something. So sometimes I find that when it's an issue of players putting their opponents on ranges, they put their opponent on a range that allows them to call when they really want to call, or it allows them to fold when they really want to fold. So make sure there's no narrative that you're putting in place that's allowing you to do things that aren't correct. And yeah, I hope that was useful for everyone. It was really fun to do one of these again today. We're going to be doing a load more as we work towards that book launch. If you're interested in coaching, Brian's put that coaching link in there. You can apply to work with me or one of the coaches. There are tons of coaches, as I said. So there's someone that can help everyone. It's really fun. You get to see some of the old names and faces from when we've done these in the past. And yeah, looking forward to doing more of it and having some fun in the poker industry. So hope you all have a wonderful summer. And we'll see you probably in like a month or something. We'll do another one of these. Yeah. So, oh, and listen to Prime Mind, get that the sale. I think it's only another day or so. When is it run? Is it Sunday or is it tomorrow finishes? Yeah. So what's he putting in? Oh, Sunday the sale finishes. Yeah. So if you want 70% off Prime Mind, highly recommend signing up for it before Sunday because you'll save 70%. Okay, everyone, have a wonderful time and I shall catch you soon. Bye-bye.